So, Jeremy, this is Love It or Riff It. Remember, we used to do these a long time ago.
A long time, a different life.
Yes, now we have children.
We're old men.
We forgot our film equipment, so we're just going to do... Well, we have audio.
We've got audio. They can
this,
hear us, man.
This is good.
They're visualizing us right now.
So, this is the first time we've ever done this, though. We went and saw a movie, and we're talking about it right afterwards.
We haven't even said 2 words about the movie to each other.
No. Other than it was a movie that we saw.
It was part of a movie. Most a movie?
Yeah.
Quarter of a movie?
It was there.
Yeah.
So, this is an instant reaction. I think you called it a Riff Reacts.
Riff Reacts.
Or Riff Racks.
Riff Racks.
I don't know.
Something right there.
That works.
It's kind of a play on, Riff Raff.
We'll patent both of them.
There we go, dude.
Trademarked.
We got to buy the domain as soon as we get home.
So, we saw The Marvels.
The Marvels.
From Marvel.
Marvels, the Marvels.
Or is it The Marvels? Because at the end of the movie, remember, it said based on the Marvel comics.
I think I was kind of saying based on the Marvel comic books.
Oh.
Like, because it's like 3 different the 3 different comic books, and they just didn't want to credit each one.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Did they not ever do one jointly? I'm not a comic book person, so I don't know if they ever did
I don't know.
Joint one.
I would say the Marvels are a real team.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Interesting.
I would guess yes.
So
I went into this movie blind. I think I saw like one trailer, and it seems like forever ago that trailer came out.
Because I remember so look, I don't want to do spoilers because we're gonna release this quick.
Yes, very quick.
But I do remember. It was in the trailer, or at least I think it was the cat doing the tentacle thing, and Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, saying, "Oh my God!"
I do remember that. Yeah,
she did that 47 times in this movie.
Yes, she did. That was her whole character.
Is there I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says, "Oh my God!"
She was actually my favorite character, though. She was she was funny. She was really funny.
She looked to be having fun.
Yes.
In it. Iman something, I think is her name.
I think so, yeah.
We can look it up. You say words about it. I'll just at least have the IMDb open so I know who the actress is. So we saw The Marvels, and I think just to say at the beginning, did you love it, or are we going to riff it? Or are you going to riff on it?
I did not love it.
Yeah.
And it deserves riffing.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I found myself kind of enjoying it. It was a very simple movie, even though it was dealing with everything under the sun.
Yeah. We are sitting in my truck in the parking garage outside the movie theater. So, but yeah, I feel the same way though. Like, I didn't love it at all. It needs riffing, but not as much as I was trying to keep my expectations low. I didn't want to go into it saying, because everyone's already hating on the movie. Like, it's already been bad press and all that stuff. But I was trying to go in with as positive as I could. And it doesn't deserve as much riffing as I think it's going to end up getting.
No.
Because right now it's just a popular thing to hate Marvel.
Yes. And I can see people hating this movie.
Yes.
Unfairly, in bad faith. Too,
yes, like they're going in it because they want to. I was joking today at work. I'm gonna go watch. I think I messaged you about it. We're gonna watch this ironically.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's how people are gonna go into it. But it doesn't. It's not good. It is a Marvel movie, and it is I think I called it a fluffy movie.
Yeah, fluffy. That's the best way to describe it.
It is the most family friendly, and that's saying something because Marvel isn't like not family friendly as it is, but at least there's some form of was it B tier foul language in some Marvel movies,
For sure,
normal stuff that's usually in PG-13.
There was a curse word or 2 in this, but like
I don't even remember them, but
I can't recall them either. In all honesty,
yeah, but
maybe there wasn't.
I don't know.
Maybe in my mind I was cursing.
The guys next to us were not, unless they were cursing because they were loving it. They were having the best time of their life with this movie.
They loved it so much, man.
They seemed to be having the time of their life.
2 middle-aged men going to see a Marvels movie that's, all about tween girls and stuff. What losers, right?
Yeah. That's yeah.
Wait.
All right. So, like I said, I don't want to give spoilers, but what's your take on it? Like, I don't know how to I've never done an instant reaction before.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just to preface this, usually this is what we do after movies anyway.
Yeah,
Like, we'll sit outside the parking lot at the truck or car, whatever, even if it's cold outside, and we'll just talk for like an hour about whatever we just saw, and then usually go off on tangents on other stuff too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But so this is kind of like let's just record it. But yeah, so I guess I could start it. Brie Larson, they try. I don't remember the director's name. Nia, I think is the name. Yeah. Nia DaCosta, I think is what it was.
You're right on the
but I feel like they tried really hard to soften Brie Larson's performance, because now I've only watched Captain Marvel once, which is when it came out in 2019, and then obviously Endgame and she wasn't in the she was I mean she was in Endgame, but she wasn't in.
She's barely in it, but yeah, she's in it.
And she was very like classic. Like, how do we make a tough female character? We make her stoic.
Make her stoic and stern.
Right, no personality, just straight. Maybe a sly smirk, but that's about it. They did everything they could to soften her.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
No,
she seemed much more bearable in this than she did in the other stuff.
Absolutely agree. And I think that was definitely on purpose, too. It's like, now, okay, so there is one thing. So I've not watched Miss Marvel.
I have not either.
I've not watched the show.
No.
I did watch WandaVerse, and that has Rambo in it.
Yes.
And I watched Captain Marvel, and I watched all Endgame and Infinity War and all that stuff. But it still felt like I was missing something here. Like, there was a lot more explained about Captain Marvel, and I was like, well, it seems like, I mean, maybe it's just implying that she went on all these adventures in between the movies and stuff, but it almost seemed like we should have known some of this stuff that was going, even like, and I didn't finish, what's the new one that's out now with Samuel L. Jackson?
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars? Is that what it's called? Secret Wars? Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion, yeah. Secret Wars is the movie that's coming out, I think.
Yes, you're right.
Right.
And I didn't finish that.
You didn't finish it?
I did not.
I finished it.
You finished it?
I toughed through it and I finished it.
And were you happy with yourself?
No.
Well, so does it explain, though? Does Nick Fury get back on that space station in the end of that?
I don't remember.
You don't recall?
I don't think so.
Well, see, that's what I was wondering. I was like, when did Nick Fury get back on the space station? The way Secret Invasion was going, it didn't seem like that was the trajectory.
And I will say the character. This guy goes real slow. The character, though, it didn't seem to match. So, but yeah, this Nick Fury didn't match the Nick Fury from Secret Invasion.
Yes.
Like, there were two different Nick Furies.
This is
and
the cartoon one.
Yes. And I'm not saying that, that's because it's a different universe or whatever. It's just he was not playing it the same. This is like Nick Fury had no problems ever in his life. He's living on cloud 9 up on the space station.
He's the most chill guy. And yeah, it's such a disconnect from who he's been.
Yes.
And just weird.
Yeah, he was. We did joke in the theater. It was like they wanted Samuel L. Jackson in it because obviously Nick Fury and Carol Danvers and I guess Monica Rambeau to that extent, they have a relationship there. They got to have him in the movie. He maybe didn't want to do it. But they put the paycheck, and he's like, well, I'm Samuel L. Jackson. I'm going to be in any movie as long as there's a paycheck involved.
Hey, man,
And he just had a good time making this movie, I feel like.
Absolutely. He looked like he was having a lot of fun.
And so, I mean, I think they all did. Like, there was no, like, I don't think there was, like, a bad performance. I think the actress, Tiona Paris, Monica Rambeau was kind of the more wooden one of the three.
I thought so too. She was more up and down for me.
Yeah.
Like sometimes she would be
having a good time,
really great, and
like on the water planet. She was having fun on the water planet.
She was having so much fun, and she was really likable. But then, like sometimes she would come off just a little wooden.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, you're a little stale in that delivery or whatever. Yeah. And I think really like all the characters are great and serviceable and stuff. I don't know. I think the biggest kind of letdown was it's like there is a formula to the Marvel movies.
Yes.
And this followed that.
Yes.
But
nothing felt big about it. It was very, even for like what it was, like what I don't remember, the Darjen, was that the bad lady's name?
Something like that, yeah. There's a lot of made up words in this.
Yeah. Well, that's a comic. I did read that's a comic character that they gender swapped. It's a dude.
Oh, really?
In the comics that they made, but whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
But it was like there was no like, at no point in the movie did I feel any. And I think that's the problem with this Marvel formula, though. Now I'm thinking about it. With Thanos, there was like an ultimate like Thanos felt like a real threat.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because of Thanos, there's no bad guy you can put in a Marvel movie now. And I think they're trying with Kang, but it's maybe not working. I don't know. But like in this one, I felt like,
Hey, that come out today, by the way.
Huh?
The last episode of Loki came out today, didn't it? It comes out on Thursday.
Feels like poor planning on their part.
Yeah, it does.
Or they should have put it on Wednesday and had some big lead into this.
That would have been cool. Have you been watching Loki season 2?
I have not seen any of Loki season 2.
Have you seen Loki season 1?
Yes.
Okay.
I did finish that.
Season 2 is really good.
I have not watched
What's
season
his
2.
name? Short Round's in it.
I did know that.
And
and
he's
that was
awesome, too.
Oh, good. Is he like, does he have a real, like, or he's just like a side character that doesn't really have much screen time?
No, he has a lot of screen time.
Good.
He's like regular cast. Kind of.
Nice.
So yeah, he's really
good for him.
You know, and Owen Wilson's like, hey man, welcome to the TVA. We got a time travel. Wow, look at that.
That's actually not bad.
Right? What is?
You're Owen Wilson.
Oh, thank you.
It's good.
I've been working on it. You know, something funny about that too. You know the TVA and that? It's called the TVA.
Yeah.
The Time Variance Authority.
Yeah.
Well, ever since I've always thought of the Tennessee
Valley
Authority.
Yeah, Authority. I was gonna say association, but whatever.
But I found out the guy who created the TVA in the comics from Knoxville, Tennessee. So that has to be right?
It's his own little inspiration.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool to learn.
That's interesting. The more you know. This just shows like what we thought about this movie. Like we're not really talking about this movie at all because it was there. Like it was not bad. It had its moments of fun, which I was surprised by. It was very lighthearted. I wasn't expecting it to be as like light, fluffy. Like I said, fluffy.
Fluffy. It was fun.
It was there. There was like a couple good, fun little sequences. I don't want to spoil anything. Mainly with cats.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a good, interesting little like.
The singing.
That was interesting.
That was fascinating.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
I think it could have been done a little better.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you should have actually made it more like a full-on, number,
yeah. Yeah, versus like just a
little bit here and there.
Like a classic Disney movie.
Yeah, that's what it should have been. The whole welcome should have been like when Genie and Prince Ali, that
would have been so good. Then like they pick Kamala Khan up and like spin her around. Yeah. But they all kind of feel like Brie Larson or Carol Danvers is there. She's the integral part in this sequence. Mm-hmm. And the other two are just sort of they're back there enjoying. Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like they should have been more entwined by having like a Prince Ali moment.
Yeah.
And they're
fully embrace it. Just have it be silly and go full on.
Why not? You're already doing it.
It's like you went halfway, but you didn't commit. And
I think this is I think this is what it is. This is the most Disney feeling Marvel movie. Like Disney. I don't want to say Disney interference. Maybe Disney interference.
Yeah. Disney's been around. Disney's owned Marvel for a long time now.
But they still felt like separate from Disney, where this one feels more, just I think in tone and like this particular scene or sequence that we're talking about was very Disney-ish, especially with Carol Danvers in it.
Yeah.
Like they're pushing. They're like, we're not giving up on this character yet.
You will like her. You will like her.
And see, you can't hate her now.
And I can't. I can't say I hate her. I mean,
she's fine.
I mean, I never did actually have a problem with her. I just thought she just wasn't very she was done a disservice.
She was boring.
Yes, that's what it is. Boring.
She was boring in it. It was like the classic. I mean, classic. It's people that like you want to write a strong female lead, but you don't know how to do it. So let's turn her into what we think a strong male lead is and just gender swap them. So what's a strong male lead? Oh, they're stoic, they're sarcastic, sly smiles, and that's it. So we're going to make our female leads do that. And it's like, no, just let them be fun. And they did that in this, where it was like, it is like Thor, first movie Thor.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, yeah, he was very...
And Ragnarok now.
Yeah, it's kind of very
maybe not
similar.
That extreme,
but it's similar though.
Yeah.
It is very similar. That it's like, okay, Thor is way serious in that. He's a way different character than who he ends up being in his own movies, his own series. You know,
Was it Ragnarok when he really turned silly, or was it in the first Avengers movie they turned him a little more silly? I think it was really just Ragnarok. Ragnarok was when they jumped the shark.
Yeah.
No.
The Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder, they jumped the shark.
Yeah.
Ragnarok, they did a good little...
it was a nice
good
balance. Yeah.
Oh, man. But so... Yeah. Okay, so I think if we want to be critical of the movie, at least from this is what I'm going to think of, the big critical spot of it, it was definitely edited.
Oh,
badly.
Yes.
Like nothing flowed well. Even within the same scene, like they would jump from like there's one in particular that I'm thinking of. It's when they're in Carol's spaceship. I don't remember what happens before it. I think they maybe got in it's the dream. They had the dream headbands on, right?
Yeah.
And they come out of it to now they have to solve the problem. Where's the bad guy at now? And then Kamala Khan has popcorn in her hand.
Yeah.
Like it's like these weird little jump cuts almost that they're not really jump cuts because they jump to a different room at least, but there's no flow there.
And it felt that way too, like with even the emotional like beats of it too. Like right there, it's like they get mad at each other, but then like 2 lines later, it's like, oh, we're over, and they're hugging and stuff, and it's like, well, wait a second here. I mean, I think a lot more needs to be said before we bury this hatchet.
And that happens at the end, or towards the end too, where they're on the water planet, and they, Miss Marvel, you know, she's the young superhero learning to use her powers and learning what her. Not really. She knows her powers, but now she's working on a team and trying to figure out how all that works. And so she kind of causes them to lose that battle there. Yeah. And Captain Marvel is clearly upset about this, but then they get off the ship, like in the field of wheat or whatever.
Where Maximus was.
And there's like there's no like. I mean, they could have at least had Captain Marvel like, "What'd you do?"
Yeah,
you know, and it was just more like, "Oh, it's all my fault" or whatever. You know, she's crying about it. And it's like, okay,
it was very odd. It almost seems like it felt like there was a lot probably left on the cutting room floor, like a lot that was
release
just
the
like,
Naya cut.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, she did say, I don't know if she said, or I think she said, I saw a headline, like all it is headline. Like I never click on the article, but it's just in my feed, so I see
modern
it.
Day.
Yeah, it's just in my headline, and it was like she said she purposely wanted it to be under 2 hours, which it was.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
it was a brisk movie.
You said it was like you got in at 6:30.
Yeah, it started at
6:30. Like the movie, like credits were rolling at like
8? Yeah, I'd say
8:05 or something.
8:07 is when you looked at your clock, because I was actually like, I couldn't tell how to read it. I was like, is it 7:08 or is it 8:07?
But so it was a fast movie, which I'm thankful for because it needed to be. But then there's times where you need to pace it, and it wasn't paced well.
These 2.5 hour long movies, I'm sorry, but it's like we don't need. Not every movie needs to be 2.5 hours. Now, I will say though, I think I liked this one better than Quantumania.
I hadn't seen Quantumania.
I thought Quantumania was a mess and cheap too. Like it looked like like you can tell, like almost when they cut to different characters and stuff and their different situations, you can tell that it's like, oh wow, there's a literal green screen wall 5 feet behind them.
Oh man,
and it's bad.
I think that was though, if I remember, like I hadn't seen it. I haven't watched much of the post Endgame phase. Like I've watched Loki, I've watched the Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, that was fun.
WandaVision. I watched the Doctor Strange one with WandaVision.
See, I think the problem is, and I think
that
speaks to the bigger problem that Marvel has at post Endgame. It's like, wow, it ended. You know, I mean, it built up to this one thing, and now it's just kind of we're in this meandering space. And this movie felt like a meandering thing, like it doesn't feel like it's all building up. And I'm not saying all the other ones felt like it was building up to something or whatever, but everyone knew it's like, oh, it's just a matter of time before they do the Avengers movie,
right?
And then they set up Thanos in that one, even briefly as he was. It's still like, what's gonna come? When's that gonna happen? You know. And like, now though, it's like there are no breadcrumbs. There's no setup for that. You know, Kang is there, but
he seems like, I don't know if there was, unless you saw it, like there was no like, even the I'm not gonna say what the post credit scene is, but even the post credit scene, there was no real. I mean, I guess there was I guess there was, but not directly tied to Kang.
Yeah.
If anything, tied to the TVA timeline stuff, but not directly. There was no like, oh, it's the big bad.
Right.
You know?
And it doesn't need to. I'm not trying to say that. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just like you have nothing to kind of grab onto to be like, oh, this is coming or that's coming. Like this movie too. It's like even like I just felt like everything was kind of bare minimum. Like it was superficial. Yeah. It was all surface level stuff.
It's like here's the middle story in between the two bigger stories, and it's like sort of like I was gonna say like Captain Marvel was kind of because you had Infinity War, Captain Marvel, and then Endgame. There or was there a Spider-Man in between there? No, there was no Spider-Man. I don't think.
No, because he was.
That's right.
Snipped.
Oh man, was it Mr. Stark? Save me. Right. My wife was bawling.
I don't want to go.
She doesn't care anything about Spider-Man, but she's like, oh, that poor little boy.
See, in hot take, I think I like Infinity War better than Endgame.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah,
it's I mean, even though it ends the way it ends, it was. But I still. Movie. But Endgame, for that long story that was built up from Iron Man 1, it was even though it was the inferior of the two, it was a satisfying end to that large story.
Yes, it was.
Even though, you put the two together, it wasn't as good. It was still like, that is a good.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, it's like, well, now we're sort of in this weird spot where, what are we doing?
And I felt like in this movie, too, the set pieces. Well, I mean, all set pieces now in movies suck. I mean, there are no interesting, fun set pieces anymore.
Because you can make literally whatever you want in the computer.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
And it's just not as interesting.
No.
And I do know that Disney, like, they have, like, animatics made years in advance for these movies about here's this battle, here's that fight, here's this battle, and all that stuff. And so, I mean, I don't even think the director, it's like the director directs everything in between it. You know, it's like, okay, we get to this fight. All right, now we're just following the animatics. Let's just shoot that.
That sounds boring.
It is, and that's why all of them look exactly the same. It's like, but the set pieces, I swear, I don't think there was a longer set piece than like maybe 5 minutes in this movie.
No.
Like even the final battle, you know, or whatever, it was like very low key, but and that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with a low key battle at the end. Hey, you know, an old fashioned fisticuffs between the good guys and the bad guy, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But there was no weight behind it.
No, even like with what was at stake, supposedly at stake, it was very, I did air quotes.
Yeah.
You can't see that.
You can hear them, though.
You can. What was at stake? Like, they hinted at it, and then it was just essentially a 3-on-1 battle at that point, which is fine, but nothing felt like grandiose, which is fine, I guess. But then I think the problem is, though, with a Marvel movie, not Marvels, but a Marvel movie, you expect some sort of weight or something, and it was kind of just,
Yeah, you got to have them. I mean, they're fighting each other and stuff like that, but they have to be fighting for something more. And it didn't hit that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even Ms. Marvel, you know, Kamala Khan. I mean, that's what takes you out of it, too. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Marvel now has a certain feel, a certain tone, a certain aesthetic and everything like that. But it's like, well, she's perfectly fine. She's not scared or anything. No. It's like, this is a teenage girl.
Yeah.
It's a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, Spider-Man, I mean, it's not even believable for him not to be scared and understand the weight of the situation that he's in.
But he was. Like,
but they did show that. They presented that with him. And
I don't know, not so much in Civil War they didn't so much. He was more like, or was it? He was on Tony's side.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Stark or whatever. But then in Infinity War, especially when he's goes up on when Thanos' ship, or not Thanos, but he's like, you can tell.
It's like, oh man, I'm out of my league.
Yeah, this is not what I signed up for. I will say, so in the villain, like I talked about it a little bit towards the beginning, the villain problem. Like, this villain was bad.
Oh, 2D.
She
maybe
was so
1D.
bad.
She was one-dimensional.
And I worried about this. So they cast a female villain. Fine, they did that with Ragnarok. Ragnarok? Yeah, Thor Ragnarok.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Kate Blanchett. I can't think of her character name.
Galadriel.
Helena? Wasn't Helena?
Ivana.
I don't know, whatever. She was fine. She at least was campy and like seemed like she was having a good time being like, I get to be the bad villain. Sweet. But like the most recent movie I saw was Guardians.
Yeah.
And that villain, like, he just wanted to be a bad guy.
Yeah, he was just, I'm evil and I'm, haha.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Give me that. I don't want these villains that you can relate to and get what they're going for.
Yeah.
Like, this villain, it was clear what her problem was, which is fine. I'm good with that, too. I'm good with you saying, okay, here's why I am a bad guy. Understood. Got her point. But I don't want to feel sympathy for it. But they were too busy, like, I think I talked about it, Cruella DeVille, like with the Cruella movies. You want to feel bad, you want to make her feel like that anti-hero, I think.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, you're doing a good thing, you're just going about it the wrong way, or you're being bad and all that stuff. It's like, you ever notice, I just realized, it's the plot to Spaceballs.
This?
Yeah. She's stealing their air.
Oh, you don't say that. I'm going to bleep it out. You're right. They did have a giant vacuum cleaner. Suck. Oh, that's great.
Dude, it's the plot
Oh
to
my
Spaceballs.
gosh, you are so right. That's the title of this episode. It's like, we're watching the Marvels, Return of Spaceballs.
Return to Spaceballs. The search for more money.
Oh, that's to be it. The Marvels, the search for more money. That is great.
Dude. That's
High five! Yeah! Oh man, that is so good.
Mega Maid. My goodness. Air!
They said that though. Like the people on her planet were like, she's like, breathe, and they're like, oh my. Oh man. Oh, but I mean, that is the problem though. Like, I don't want to sympathize with her. Like, I want to hate her. Like, she's the bad guy. I want to hate her.
Yeah.
I want to, and it doesn't, in today's modern society, you're not supposed to hate anybody. But I want to hate the villain.
Yeah, same.
Guardians of the Galaxy, I did not like that villain. I rooted for him to be defeated.
Yeah.
Even though he was cool, like, I was like, oh, he's a cool bad guy. Like, the actor was doing well.
Yes, he was.
And this one, she was there.
She was there. She did what she needed to, but she felt more like, not the henchman, the second.
Yeah.
And maybe there was a point to that and stuff, but
she didn't feel like you didn't really feel like she could do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know. It just, they needed to prop her up some way, somehow to make her. And don't get me wrong, she did some evil things.
Oh, she did.
It just, I don't know.
It didn't feel, even though she did evil things, it still didn't feel like, because of you knew what she was. I think if all the reveal was held to the end of the movie, like what she was doing it for, where they gave it at the beginning of the movie, like, this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
If they held that for the end, then you're like, oh, this is terrible, great. And then maybe I feel differently if I see at the end, well, she was doing it because of this.
Yeah.
Then maybe I can be behind it. But because I knew at the beginning, I'm like, well, I don't care about what she's doing.
And that could have, I think, helped with Captain Marvel's arc, if you want to call it that. You know how, like, the promise that's like, oh, you can do like this or whatever. It's like,
you
maybe
have enough power to fix this.
Maybe
yourself,
they should have, instead of like her knowing, like they call her the Annihilator and all that stuff. And it's like, because of what she did in Captain Marvel, we're now suffering and stuff like that.
Was that in Captain Marvel? Or was that where you're kind of talking about where the stuff happened between
movies? That was in
movies?
Captain
Marvel. It was? Okay.
That flashback was not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that flashback that we saw from the villain's perspective, when she's like, I was there, Gandalf, 3,000 years ago. When she was having that flashback, I truth be told, when it showed, Captain Marvel destroying the super intelligence or whatever with the giant face, I was like, did that happen in the first?
I don't think that did.
I'm almost positive it did, because she did go and destroy the supreme intelligence, but it was, what's her name? Carol.
It was
the Columbia girl, red-haired girl. And I say Columbia, the Columbia pictures, whenever it shows the angel or what holding the torch, that's based on her. The American president,
I don't know what you're
leading lady in that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Some of the actress?
Yeah, the actress. What's that actress's name? Who shows up at the end of Captain Marvel?
That's right there on the tip of my tongue. It's so frustrating.
Burnett?
No, not Carol Burnett.
Carol Burnett.
Although she was in Better Call Saul.
Yeah, she was. She was good in Better Call Saul, too.
Annette Bening.
Annette Bening. Man, we were way off. We had the B right.
I knew it was like, you were saying B, and I'm like, I'm picturing her, and like my brain went blank.
Annette Bening.
That's right. And her title is Supreme Intelligence in there.
So she was, but see, it was like in a Matrix simulation
because she was playing Marvel, and like her human form or whatever.
That's right.
Was Marvel.
Yeah.
And that was the big con. Oh, yeah. Marvel's a dude, and she's not a dude.
Right. That's right. And then Carol ends up killing her.
Yes.
But I can't remember if it was like, showing that green face.
It wasn't Zordon.
That's how she looked. Well, that's how it looks
in
the
comics. It wasn't even Zordon, Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, but that's how it looks in the comics.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm like, is that how that movie looked? I don't know.
Maybe that's how it looked from like
everybody else's perspective.
Carol Danvers was doing, or not doing, but
while she was inside the Matrix thing. That's what everyone else was really going on. Yeah.
Not a green floating head with wires.
Zordon.
Like I was like, I'm like, where was this?
Yeah.
But it's okay. Yeah.
But no, that was the thing though. It's like I felt like we've missed a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that out of touch with it all. But
well, in all honesty, this is 2023. That movie came out in 19, so it's like a 4-year leap.
Yeah, dude, that's.
And so you had a whole pandemic in there, and I think this movie was supposed to come out like last year, and it kept getting pushed back or something.
Pushed back, yeah.
A lot of reshoots I heard, so I don't know. There's a lot of like stuff, but that's the problem though. Disney or Marvel. I keep saying Disney, but whatever. Who cares? We all know who's pulling the strings. Poor Mickey. Don't drag his good name into this.
Oh gosh, you sold yourself out.
Like I shouldn't have to watch, and I think this is a common complaint. And now I'm knowing it because up to this point, I knew what was going on leading up to a movie. Here, I did not watch Miss Marvel. Yeah. And really, like, I did watch Secret Invasion, but that didn't seem to play into this at all.
Nope.
Other than,
I don't know,
actually. The Skrulls being in it.
Yeah.
But that still
was like
they didn't even bring that in.
So yeah, it didn't even get mentioned. And so were those people serving on the space station Skrulls?
I don't know.
Because remember the guy was talking about retirement, the joke,
like
and 306 years old. And I'm like, is he a Skrull?
I said, I don't know, but I did say, I would love to watch that. I don't care to say it. So her family, Kamala Khan's family, is on the space station with Nick Fury. I could watch a movie with like her family. Like I did not watch Miss Marvel, so I don't know anything, but they were entertaining. I had a great time with them.
They were super fun.
In that sort of environment of like superhero stuff, they're like people.
Oh yeah, no, I love that.
He's talking to one guy about retirement. That's why you should invest in a 401k, and he's like, I've never thought about retirement. How old are you? 306 years old. Oh. But anyway, so yeah, it was a movie. It's not as bad as people are going to make it out to be.
Way.
If you want to support movie theaters again, go see it to give them your $15 to $20. It was actually $17.
Yes, it was.
Buying on the app. But
movies are expensive now.
It is. I don't remember ever paying. But then we did go to the Cinnabar, and I think maybe they're
That's
a little.
True.
Even if you don't buy food, I think it's a jacked up price.
They're premium.
Because you got the reclining seats.
Reclining seats cost money, man.
Yeah, but then you got to sit next to two like grown men. Like just giddy laughing at every little reference.
But
here's the thing: we were that way 10 years ago. Watching whatever movie came out. Maybe we even did it with The Flash.
Maybe it wasn't the movies that changed.
It was us.
It was us.
Well, we're
What are we doing with our lives, Chuck? Sitting in a truck, talking about
two old, withering men talking about definitely a preteen Marvels movie.
Totally targeted to that demographic.
Definitely.
We were outside of the demographic for this movie.
I think most of the people in that theater were. Like, I did not see very many, although it is a Thursday night.
Yeah.
So they're still supposed to be in school. They have school next night.
School night.
School night. So maybe tomorrow they'll be at the movies to watch it.
Yeah.
But if you really want to support movies, though, you should go to the Film Fest Knox.
Support your local community.
Although by the time most people hear this, that will be over.
Probably long over, but you'll have to go next year.
But
it's the new hot ticket in town.
And I'm not saying that sarcastic. It's not sarcastic.
No.
I didn't know it was today. I thought it started tomorrow. Not that I probably still would have gone tomorrow, but because I wanted to watch. I don't know why I wanted to watch this movie, just because I hadn't been to the movies in a little while.
And you invited me to this one.
I did. You're welcome. Although we did watch The Flash. Okay, so let's just rate it to The Flash, because I think that was the last one you and I saw together. I think was The Flash.
So. Yeah.
Now The Flash was bloated.
Yo.
Where this one they cut everything out of. The Flash kept everything in.
Yep.
But
which was a better movie.
But we, if I recall, you may have changed your mind. I don't know. I left having fun with The Flash. I left this one not hating it. I'm not going to say I loved it, and it wasn't that bad. Like, hate is a strong word.
No.
It's just not. It was. I laughed more and had more enjoyment watching The Flash. Maybe because it was more geared to our sense of humor, where this one was geared to more. I think you made a comment like the lowest common denominator at points. Yeah. At least with one particular joke.
Oh yeah.
It was like, come on, low hanging. Oh, you said
low hanging fruit. Such a low hanging fruit joke.
But it was.
It's like, and it's one of those things. Like, will I ever watch this movie again?
I don't think you will.
I don't think I will either. and it's one of those things where 5 years from now, is anybody going to remember this movie or be like, this is the movie?
Nah.
And I'm not saying every movie needs to be, great or whatever, but it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just, it's going to get lost in the ether. It's going to be forgotten.
Yeah. So, I did want to ask you this before. I don't want this to go on for too much longer. Marvel has been getting hit over and over. Like, Marvel, like, it's funny. DC was the butt of the joke forever.
Oh, yeah.
DC has now sort of gone quiet as James Gunn is changing their narratives and stuff. So DC is just sort of now the ones sitting back and like, we're just going to go make our Superman movie over here and Joker, or the new Joker movie and the new Batman movie or whatever. Marvel, you go ahead and have all the bad press.
Yeah.
What does Marvel, this is a big question, what does Marvel need to do to right the ship? Because I don't know how much you actually read online. I know you've sort of removed yourself from social media and that kind of stuff. So I don't know how much you actually just sit around and read articles anymore. Yeah. The narrative is that Marvel needs to like burn the ship and start from scratch. And like,
wow.
Some people are saying they need to go, there may have been rumors that they're thinking about bringing back Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, like bring back the original Avengers.
Would they ever come back, you think?
Money talks.
That's the truth. Yeah,
maybe not as cheap as Samuel. I don't know how much Samuel L. Jackson got for this, but he came back and he had a good old time. But I think Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans would. I don't know if Scarlett Johansson would though.
I don't think she's ever
done.
coming
I think
back.
she's
I
done.
think she got too burned because she sued Disney and all.
That's
that
right. Because I didn't watch that one either.
That one actually felt a lot like this one. It's a little forgettable though.
David Harbour.
It was not the movie it needed. And that's the problem actually. He was great in it. And Scarlett Johansson, I never actually thought she was the best actress in the world though. I've always thought she was actually a terrible actress.
Yeah.
She didn't attempt to do a Russian
She was no. Well, she did as like I think a joke in her very first appearance.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was in the first Avengers movie when she was tied up to the chair. I think she did one then, but then like when she got out of that fight, she
just the next.
Yeah, it was like done.
But the problem is, it's just they made it to where like she's doing stuff in that movie that's like, oh man, look how big this action set piece is, and it's like, no, you know what the coolest thing that Black Widow ever did in any of the Marvel movies? What's the coolest thing?
That'd be something with in Winter Soldier, I would assume.
Maybe actually, it's been a while since I've seen Winter Soldier. But one of my favorite standout scenes that Black Widow was ever in was when in Iron Man 2, when she was first introduced. She at the end, remember when they're trying to get into that facility? I forget what. Maybe it's Hammer's facility.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. But it's when it's revealed that she's actually a spy and stuff. She's dressed as Black Widow and she's in the hallway and she's that fight with those 5, 6 guys.
Yeah.
And remember Happy Hogan? He's boxing with that one guy. And he's dealing with one guy.
Yeah.
And then Black Widow ends up taking them all out. And then finally he beats it. I got him. And then he looks and there's like 8 guys on the. It's like That's Black Widow.
Yeah.
It should be a John Wick style story for her. That should be the movie, a spy, a thriller with some action elements, like a Jason Bourne movie.
Yeah.
That's what the Black Widow movie should have been.
Yeah.
Instead, it was her jumping from a floating fortress
Yeah.
in the clouds and like doing backflips off of it.
And it was like whoever the White Widow or whatever, like the GIF now is like that. Like I said, I've not seen it. I've seen this shot though. It's like something explodes, like she's high off the ground.
Yeah. And it's like, wow, you guys not every hero movie needs to be big and epic. Yeah. It's like Batman. Batman saves the world in every single movie now, or he has to save all of Gotham or whatever. Yeah. Like, that's fine. You can save all of Gotham, but why don't you just make a Die Hard movie with Batman in it? Right. Put him in a single building or whatever where something's going to they keep wanting to go bigger set, bigger scale. No. Do smaller stories. Yeah. Bigger in a bigger way. Like guess what I'm going to reference, Chuck? Back to the Future. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
The big climactic scene of Back to the Future, our hero, Marty McFly, is literally driving the car in a straight line. And there's not even crap he has to dodge either. He's legit just has to drive.
The bad weather hadn't even really started yet.
Dude, it was barely wind. You know? Now, it's intercut with what Doc is dealing with, but what's Doc dealing with? A cable unplugging. But it's epic, and you're on the edge of your seat that entire time.
And in all honesty, though, and I noticed this in the Marvels. Back to the Marvels for a second. The soundtrack of Back to the Future, like classic soundtracks, I have it on my playlist, like my actual like normal music playlist. It shuffles on all the time. Dun, 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 you know, where this one I felt like there was times where I'm like, that just feels like they downloaded that off
Artlist.
Yeah, wherever.
Yeah. It's so generic and it's bland and forgettable.
Like there was one particular that I saw or I heard. I'm like, that just sounds like that's ripped from somewhere. Like that doesn't sound like even a dude at a computer making it specifically for this movie. Like that's just generic movie action sound effect or music score or whatever. And so I think that's a big difference too.
Oh, no, and it's a huge difference, especially because actually one of my favorite quotes is Robert Zemeckis. Alan Silvestri, who scored Back to the Future, he also scored the Avengers theme, you know. But Robert Zemeckis was like, hey, we don't have a lot of big action pieces in this movie. It's actually very low-key stuff. But I want it to feel big with the music. So think about what's the middle action scene in Back to the Future? The bully's chasing him, and he gets on a skateboard, and he gets chased around the block. I mean, what's that thing? It's a board with wheels. You know? I mean... But it's epic because of the music. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's like it's about character, it's about story, it's about form, and just the music elevates it all. The music is so bland in this, it's forgotten. Yeah.
So back to the question though. We got on a big sidetrack there.
We did, sorry.
How can Marvel right the ship, and how so?
They need to stop doing we gotta go bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. Yep. They need to tell smaller stories. Yep. And they're kind of doing that in a way with their TV shows and such.
I see that. WandaVision was very much, if I remember correctly, I've only watched it one time. It was like her little internal bubble. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that was only a small town, though. So they did the right direction. It wasn't big city. It was small town.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that's what they need to start doing, is telling more stories like that. And the problem with WandaVision, don't get me wrong, I really liked WandaVision.
I did too.
But I think the aesthetic in the gimmick of WandaVision did a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, it did.
For that show. Yeah, I mean, I hate saying that because I really enjoyed it and I ate that stuff up. I love it. But it's like you're relying on this aesthetic a lot.
Yeah.
And then in the end, what it ended up being still just two super beings just throwing magical dust at each other.
Flying in the sky
with a CGI backdrop. And
gosh, that one scene in this though, they were like going up the elevator
Oh
or
my
whatever.
gosh, dude!
Like not even like they couldn't even afford to like a fan or something. Like, hey, animate their hair to make it look like it's at least being hit by a coast. They were on the coast.
Yeah,
in an inlet on the coast. Those are windy.
On an elevator that's like exposed
Outside elevator.
and they're up too.
Yeah.
They're not like. They're like in a mountain valley thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, there'd be so much. Have you ever been on the top of a skyscraper?
Yeah.
The wind is blowing like crazy.
And they're just like standing there, normal conversation, hair is nice and still.
Yeah.
It was like, come on, guys. Like, that must have been one of those, like, the movie's releasing tomorrow. Let's get the scene shot, quick.
Terry, where's that elevator scene?
I got some cinder blocks and a green screen, sir.
Do it. Roll.
I'll shoot it on my iPhone.
That was probably you're probably right. That was a reshoot. It's pivotal to the movie.
Oh, yeah, real pivotal. So, in my opinion, just so I can share mine, because I'm selfish, apparently. I don't know why I added that a little bit.
2 cents.
I know. I got a $2 bill at home, though.
Well, what?
I told you about it.
Yes, you did. We were talking about that earlier.
It's worth $2.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know how much $2 is worth nowadays?
$2.
$2.
I think Marvel needs to tell not individual story, like let directors and writers tell their own, like have their own style. I feel like they try to do that with the Eternals. Now, I did not watch all of the Internals. I watched a little bit.
Internals?
Is it Eternals?
Eternals.
Whatever.
The Internals.
The Internals.
They go inside people.
What is that movie with Martin Short? Inner Space.
Heck yeah, great movie. There's a nice little fun.
Dennis Quaid. Dennis? Yeah, it's Dennis.
Dennis Quaid. Jack Quaid's father.
Is it Meg Ryan? Is that Meg Ryan too? Was it Meg Ryan? Yep. Yeah. What
Because
a cast.
they were a couple then. That was before
Who?
she got with
Martin Short?
No, Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid.
Oh,
Who
that would
Jack
make more
Quaid's
sense.
mom is?
Huh?
Jack Quaid's mom is Meg Ryan.
No.
Yeah. And then she cheated on him with Russell Crowe.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's sad.
I thought so.
I feel like the Eternals tried to have that director tried to have at least a different look.
Yeah.
Even though it was all green screen and the void and all this kind of stuff, it was graded not as poppy.
It was kind of going, especially those early scenes in that too. It was almost going this epic.
Yeah.
An epic.
Wide shots,
Yes.
Real slow kind of
Wide
feel.
landscaping shots. It was nice, but
And then Disney said, no.
I think I only got halfway through that.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I only watched the very beginning, and then I had something to do. I meant to finish it, I just didn't. But I do think it's they need to stop now with everything is the same movie. Yeah. Just put this character in here instead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's character swaps.
That's the best way to put it. It's everything's the same story, but now it's oh look, it's Captain Marvel instead of Iron Man.
And I don't know if that fixes anything, but at least it would make the movies have something interesting to go off of, because then you can really rate each movie individually at that point. It's because now it's oh, this is clearly this director's vision, this writer. It doesn't even have to be the writer and the director doesn't have to write the movie either. It could be own writer, separate director, but it's stop letting Marvel and Kevin Feige red pen everything. This movie was clearly we need to red pen this. And it wasn't even red penned until it was in the editing bay, it felt like.
Oh, yeah. I would say you're absolutely right. And that's just, I don't know. I don't know how they can write it, in all honesty. I mean, because right now it's you got to watch 10 different things to be able to be caught up on stuff. And, it's they need to treat it more like the comics, where it's and they sort of did this in the early MCU, sort of, where it was okay, well, Iron Man, you have Iron Man 1, you have Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, right? You have Captain America, the first Avenger. You have Winter Soldier, then Civil War.
Yeah.
You have Thor 1, Thor 2, Thor Ragnarok, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's now, it's those are what you could watch. I can watch the individual series, and then you got the crossover, Avengers.
Yeah.
Then Avengers Age of Ultron, then
it went to
Infinity War and Endgame and all that stuff. But now you have to watch, I got to watch a TV show. I got to watch this movie. I got to watch that movie. It's
Who's got that kind of time?
There's no cohesive. It's not easy to follow anymore. It's it's gotten too interconnected or too self-referential.
Yeah.
To where it's you need to have your own series. The Marvels, it's this should have been almost a direct sequel to Captain Marvel in a way, but
maybe they need to do like go serial with it, like serialize it. And it's like, and what I mean by that is like previously on, or I don't know how you would do it because it's not previously like, but it is like, here's all of the stuff that ties into this. So, first frame of this movie, where we're coming from is based on these through 2 minutes.
This is what you need to know,
or whatever. I don't know how you do that with all the stuff you have to watch before it.
It's too bloated now.
Yeah,
it's like everything. It's actually a great like example of content today. Everything's too bloated, so nothing is special and nothing stands out anymore.
So it sounds like what they need to do is they need to get to whatever this end game is. Whether it's Kang or, because now I guess the actor has some legal issues that they're maybe going to recast him, or scrap Kang altogether and insert. I heard a rumor that Dr. Doom is going to take over instead of Kang.
Cool. I would love that.
I don't want him now. Like, let Kang be the end of this saga, story, whatever you want to call it. And then it is like, you don't need to bring Robert Downey Jr. back. No. Like, build up your heroes that you want us to root for. That's fine. Do that. They started to with Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And then it got nuts where it was just like, now it's just too many things going on, like you said. And then it's like, now, okay, King the Conqueror, since they're doing the timeline thing, this timeline that we've been watching since Iron Man 1 is blown up. Nuclear bomb it. And now it's like, let's go in this other timeline, if they want to do the timeline thing still, and let's focus on these characters, these stories, or something. I don't know. But yeah, because they have to trim the fat. They have to get rid of something.
They have to. Somehow.
There's just too much stuff to where I don't have time to watch all this stuff. And not all this. The problem is Marvel thinks everyone wants to watch all that stuff. I don't find Miss Marvel was not written for me as a 39-year-old man. Like, I don't care about preteen drama.
Right.
Even though, it's superhero and you can make that, broad stroke superhero movie. Oh, well, this instant reaction has ran the gamut. And I don't even know how much we've actually talked about this movie because this movie was that short to begin with.
Yeah.
And it was like we said, it was there. It's fine. You're fine if you go watch it.
How long have we been
An hour, 57 minutes.
Oh my gosh, we've almost talked
the
length of this movie.
That's true. And this movie, our talking is probably more coherent.
Some way, somehow it is more coherent, flows better than that movie.
And it doesn't flow. We've gone we've Back to the Future.
All over the place, man.
Columbo there at the end.
Columbo right there, dude, yeah.
I miss this, Jeremy.
I do too, man. We need to do something.
When was, I gotta look it up. I want to remember what the last one we did.
Well, will it count as the last one? Because remember, we actually recorded like 3.
Yeah, we did. We tried to do, was it during the pandemic? Or was it just
during the pandemic?
And we were trying to do the Zoom way, and it didn't work.
It just lost it all. Yeah. We talked for like
a long. Because it was a Star Wars. It was Star Wars: Last Jedi, I think. Or no, Rise of Skywalker.
Oh wow, okay. That's probably best that it got lost then. What's Rise of Skywalker? What's that?
This is a movie that came out.
Was it?
Yeah.
Sure?
It happened. A lot like this movie. A lot was lost in the cutting room floor. Lots of reshoots. And it was by far the shortest movie in the Star Wars. I mean, actually, I don't even know. I think it was the shortest Star Wars movie.
That's a great point. And this is kind of a good way to end it, I guess. Kind of. It's like George Lucas is, I don't know if he's famous for saying this, but when they were casting Anakin in episode 1, right, there's a behind-the-scenes thing called Searching for Anakin. Yeah. And they get 3 boys who are testing with Natalie Portman. There's a blonde-headed kid and Jake Lloyd and some other kid.
Yeah.
The blonde-headed kid was a great actor. He was awesome. He was nailing it, right?
Yeah.
Even, are you an angel? I mean, that stuff. Then they watch Jake Lloyd's. And they talk about it, and George is all like, well, Jake Lloyd, he has good, he looks good on camera and stuff like that. They kind of match really well with each other and stuff, which is weird, by the way.
Yeah.
The age difference.
Yeah.
But then, I can't remember who it was. It was the editor. He goes, yeah, but, it's just like the other kid, performance was stronger. And George goes, oh, well, I mean, I don't care about that. You can edit a performance together. And that is what Marvel is doing. It's like they shoot... And it's like, oh, we'll find it in post. We can fix it, and we'll make it work in post.
And with technology these days, it's a lot easier to do than it was back, obviously, when Phantom Menace was being
made. And so it's just kind of, it's too bad.
Yeah. a lot of good stories are being wasted
Yeah.
and not picked up to make
Not
these
being allowed to be told at all.
to make these kind of. The funny with all the AI stuff and strikes about AI, like this feels like they put a movie into AI and they said, make this an hour. I was gonna say a minute, an hour and 40 minutes or whatever it was. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
no,
then they spit it out, and it cut out stuff in between, like in the middle of scenes to make things. I don't know.
This felt definitely like an AI movie.
Yeah.
It really, really did. It felt like it could have been written by AI.
Yeah. On that note,
Yeah, what a dark and twisted note. They're coming for our art. Art is dying.
go see the Knock or the Film Fest Knocks to
Did you see the
get real-
Ghostbusters teaser?
I
trailer?
did.
Dude, yeah.
All right, let's talk about that
Yeah,
here in a
let's
second.
talk-
All right, let's stop this one.
Okay.
Thank you all for listening. Go see it if you want to. You're not missing anything if you don't.
That's the takeaway. Go see it if you want to. You won't be missing it.
If you don't, you're fine. Watch football this weekend. I'm gonna roll down the window because we're getting steamy
Yeah, it's
in
getting
here.
hot.